Hi, it's Andrew from Hyperwave. Today on this video, we're going to go through a tutorial of how to render Blender animations using Hyperwave's distributed rendering technology. So first off, I had worked with things like Unreal and Maya before, but this is the first time I've actually used Blender. So my first step was to go over to the Blender website and to find a suitable file that I thought might be a good candidate to run renders on over and over and over. So I looked through here and ultimately chose this Pasta Planet one. So I wanted to give some credit to Eric Schubert for that. And so when you pull it up in Blender, this is 441, you can see that it's essentially a ball of noodles with a meatball rotating around it. And there's, um, I just thought it was a fun little one to put against the system. So what we're aiming to do on this video is to we're going to submit this for rendering. So first off, if you're on Hyperwave's website, this isn't deployed yet, but you just hyperwave-software.com. You can go into obviously log in first, go into workload patterns, render Blender animation is an option there, and when you click on when you see it, there'll be a tutorial video, which will be this video I'm recording right now, and you can drag and drop a .blend file here. So if we just click, it'll pull up our files, and then we can kind of click the file that we want. You can choose the resolution. I don't want this to be running for quite some time. It'll be going against 3 different computers, but I think it'll make sense to go it against 360. Choose your number of samples. So the initial file had 1024, and it takes quite a while on one computer to render a single frame. So I'm going to drop that down to 128 frames. The output of that is just going to be a zip file, and then we're going to be rendering range 1 through. Let's do the first 2 seconds of video, assuming 24 frames a second. So we'll be doing 48 frames a second. So 1 through 48. So another thing I want to show on this page is the event-driven nature of how Hyperwave works. So when we click Submit Blender Job, at the same time I'm going to pull up a client view so that you can actually see how quickly it just starts to distribute the rendering 1 frame at a time to all the listening nodes. So let's go ahead and submit the Blender job. It'll do a bit of an upload, and um, I didn't catch it quick enough. Okay, so this is going to run on a computer with a NVIDIA 4060 and an i5 newer GPU or CPU. So let's do this. We'll click OK, and we'll click that. You can see the job here, and I've done quite a few, but you can see the job in its form. And when it's completed, it'll be a download button. But in the meantime, we can just kind of have this open and then see how that's going to work. So while we're here and talking about this, on Maya rendering, it made sense that we would go and archive the projects. But on Blender, it seems, I haven't done enough research, but it seems as though that the blend files might be totally inclusive, as in we don't need to have another folder with referenced materials and things like that. So if it's possible, I think we'll just try it as a blend file up front. And if there's a need to zip up the contents and extract them somewhere and even remap textures like what we had to do in Maya, then we can absolutely do that. So let's. Oh, okay. So there was 1 frame completed, and it just had uploaded that back. And normally you wouldn't see this when you have the client on. It's more of like a debug mode. So I guess at this point we're able to just kind of pause the video and let all the rendering go through. And actually, it's rendering much faster on a different host I have up here. I could kind of see the progress. And we'll join back after those 48 frames are done and just kind of calculate where we were with the amount of time and look at a couple sample frames. So just hang tight. All right, well, I see the rendering is completed. On this end, I wanted to also show that it'll give you a progress of the individual parts. So we were 83% complete when I last refreshed this page. So let's refresh one last time, go all the way to the bottom, and we'll see that the job had completed. So I'll download once more because I just did it on another screen. But so it produces an output file, and then within that output file, you have the 48 frames that were rendered. So let's have a look at this real quick and spot check. So this one, it's directly behind it. This other one is kind of out to the side. I think the pasta planet is spinning throughout the image as well. 360 doesn't really do the animation any justice. 1080p would have been much better, but it would have taken more than the 10 or 15 minutes I wanted to wait for this to complete. So overall, it's out there, it's done, it's working. If you have any feedback, as in it has to be done a different way for my specific workflow, certainly let us know over on the Hyperwave contact email. Otherwise, we will look to deploy this within the next day or two, and then this will be a free to use service up until we've done a proper beta of it. So any kind of feedback would be great to help shape the service for others. But ultimately, longer term, client software would be what fuels the site. The client software is going to render these jobs as um, like a distributed um, hypernet sorry, a distributed workflow engine that has many nodes involved to complete a distributed rendering or distributed transcoding for some of the video and Maya type stuff. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, I'll end the video. Thanks for watching.